Okay, soulmates, welcome back. So to the drafting of our bodies, here I have my pattern paper, the length of which is approximately 75 centimeter, can work for anybody. Okay, to get the length of the paper that you'll be working with, 75 centimeter should be enough to accommodate the length of the bodies you're working with. 75 is about 29 inches. Okay, so once that is done, I'm going to be marking border lines on this paper, which I've already done. From the top of the paper, I measured 2 centimeter down, right? And you know, all of us know where the centimeter is. We're not talking about tape calculations here, or measurements, or tape reading. 2 centimeter down from the top. Then from this other side, I'll measure 2 centimeter in, just to create a borderline. This is optional, but it's necessary though. So once I have my borderline like I have marked, the next thing is to know the size of the paper I'm going to be working with. The first one was the length of the paper. Now is the width of the paper that we're going to work with to accommodate our size. So here is the option we can use to get the size of the paper. We're going to take our round bust measurements and our round hip measurements. We'll divide the two of them, whichever one is bigger, that's what we're going to use. So for the bust, our bust is 39 inches, which is 99 centimeter. So I've divided 39 inches into 2. Bust divide by 2 plus 2 inches if you're working with inches. If you're working with centimeter, bust divide by 2 plus 5 centimeter. Whatever it gives you, you write it down. Here I have 54.5. Now I'll go over to my hip measurements, which is 41 inches. Divide by 2 plus 1.25, right? Whatever it gives me, here I have 41 inches divided by 2 plus 1.25, and that is 21.75. Now 104 centimeter, still on the hip, divide by 2, that is 52, plus 3 centimeter, and that is 55. So the hip is bigger than the bust. The formula is divide bust into 2. If you're working in centimeter, divide bust into 2 plus 5 centimeter. Then divide hip into 2 plus 3 centimeter. Whichever one is bigger, that is what you're going to use to get the width of the paper you're going to be working with, that will accommodate your measurements accurately. So we're going to be working with 21.75, which is 55 centimeter. I hope that is clear, and I'm going to mark it across. Now there is no point ruling a line in between us to demarcate it. We're just going to use this measurement. The point is that we do not want our measurements to overlap each other, right? We just want to make sure that everything fits in where it's supposed to be. Reason for the 2 inches or 1.25 that was added to our measurement. So to proceed, we're going to, first of all, from the back, this part is going to serve as our CB, the back side, and here is going to serve as our CF, the center front. I hope this pencil is thick enough. So from this borderline, and remember that the measurement we marked for the width of our paper began from this borderline, not from the edge of the paper. So from the borderline, that is where every other measurement is going to start, especially the point O, right? The point O is going to start from the borderline. So from the top of the paper, this is the top of the paper, top line. From top line, we're going to mark our point O, which is 3.5. So I'm going to come down by 3.5 centimeter, right? And I'm going to be ruling this line down to about 15 or 16 centimeter. It shouldn't be too long across. 15 to 16 centimeter is okay, no matter the person's measurements. Now, once you've gotten your point O, we're going to mark it point O. From point O, no longer from this line for the back, from point O, we're going to get our waist measurement for the back, the nape to waist, and I'm having 40 centimeter, excuse me, 40 centimeter. This 40 centimeter is going to go all the way to the front. So I will come back to this top line and measure it so that I can use the same measurements at the front for it to correspond. So I have 43.5 from the top line. I'm going to measure 43.5 at the front part so that I can take it to the front. So once I mark, this is my waist, right? The next measurement we're going to take is our hip length. And from the waist, we're going to measure 22 centimeter. 22 centimeter. Between 20 to 25, you will have your measurements depending on your height. And you can as well measure your own measurements and fix it. So here I'm marking 22 centimeter, which is about 8 3/4. And I'm going to mark this line still across to the front. It's going all the way to the front. I hope the lines are clear enough. So we've gotten our hip line. And the next measurement we're going to be talking about is the bust line. So for us to get our armhole line, or what is known as the depth of armhole, we're going to measure. In the textbook, we have 22.5. You can decide to use that. And this is another method I want to use. From point O, the line of point O, place your tape to the waistline, right? Divide it into two. Divide it into two and mark. Whatever it gives you, add 1.5 centimeter, not 1.5 inches, or 1.5 centimeter. Okay, this is where it is, 1.5 centimeter. And what I should be having is about 8.3 lines. 838, right? So I'm going to mark this 838. I'll measure it because this line is going to go over to the front. So I'll measure it from the top line, and I have 9.75 so that it can match up when I measure it at the front part. 9.75. And I'm going to rule it across. Please, you need to try as much as possible to follow the markings because I purposely do not want to use marker. In case there's any need for us to clean anything, you don't need to make a permanent mistake. So here I have the bust line, or the depth of armhole, right? So the next measurement we're going to be talking about is the back width measurement, the across back measurement. For the across back measurement, we're going to measure from point O to a bust line and divide it by 2. Point O to a bust line, divide your tape into 2, and wherever it stops becomes your across back. So on this back, we are not going to rule it over to the front. It's going to stop towards the front area to about your across back measurement. You can just take like 20 to 25 centimeter. So for the back line, you can measure your across back, divide by 2 to know where this line is going to stop. This is my back line. We're marking it. Now the next measurement is to get our shoulder measurements. For the shoulder measurement in the textbook, you can just come down by 3 centimeters. This is almost like a fixed measurement. 3 centimeters from the um, point O, or you can just divide this from point O to your back line into two and come up by 2.5 centimeters. The shoulder line is also going to stop towards the back line. So we'll rule it this way. Now we have all the horizontal measurements we need for the back. All the horizontal measurements we need for the back. This is our shoulder line, right? Now the next thing we're going to be talking about is how to fix our actual, the horizontal lines that we need for the back. So the next thing is for us to fix our measurements and the other things that we need for the back before moving over to the front. Now the next thing we're going to do is to get our neck width. The neck width is going to be on the line of the point O. The neck width is going to be on the line of the point O. So at this point O, we're going to mark our neck width, which I've taken from the textbook at 7.5 centimeter. 7.5 centimeter I will mark. On the 7.5 centimeter, I'm going to go up by 2 centimeter, 2 cm. Where the neck width stops, I'm going up by 2 cm. And I will mark it. I want to rule it on a straight line. Okay, you need to also measure it at this top to be sure that what you have at the base is what you have at the upper part. Okay, to avoid mistakes. Then we're going to curve it towards the point O. You're going to get your curve and curve it from this 2 centimeter up to this point O. Make sure the curve is not too curvy for the back. It's not too curvy. You can see the way I'm placing the curve. So this is our neck for the back. We're proceeding. So at this point we have our NP, which is the neck point. Right? Now we'll move over to our back line. We're going to get our back measurements. Across back measurement, divide by 2. Mine is 40 centimeter for the whole of my across back, and I'm going to divide it into 2. You know where we took the across back measurement. Please check the measurement video to get your across back. I'm using a cross back of 40 centimeter divide by 2, and that is giving me 20. At the shoulder line, I'm still going to measure the same thing I measured at the across back, 20, right? Then at the bust line, I'm still going to measure the same thing I measured at the at the bust line, I'm still going to measure the same thing I measured at the across back, 20, and I'm going to connect this with a straight line. I hope you're following. This is what we are going to have right now. Now at the shoulder line, this is our shoulder line. I'm going to add 2 centimeters to the measurement that we already have. I'm adding 2 centimeters to it. This 2 centimeters will also be taken out with a dart, with a back dart. So I will connect it to the NP. This is our neck point. From this neck point to this 2 centimeters that I added at the shoulder line, that is where I'm going to be connecting the lines together. And this will serve as our SP, shoulder point, while this is the NP. Okay, so the next step we're going to take, we've marked our cross back measurements. The next step we're going to take is to get our armhole curve. So at this armhole curve, we're going to be marking a 45-degree. You're going to get your pattern master at 45-degree. You're going to place your curve to touch with this line and mark the point of the 45. On that line, you're going to mark your 3 centimeter. On that line, you're going to mark 3 centimeter high. This is where the back curve is going to connect. Okay, then at this point, this is our back line. We're going to go up by 2 inches and come down by 2 centimeters, sorry, and come down by 3 centimeters, not inches, please. From here, go up by 2 centimeters. From the midpoint, go down by 3 centimeters. I hope that is corrected. Now at this bust line, we're going to add our back UP. Like in the textbook, we have, for the measurement I'm using, we have 6 centimeters. From this back line, an addition of 6 centimeters, which is fine. Now, if you cannot be looking for addition of the UP at to mark your UP or to complete the measurement at the bust line, you can divide your bust into 2 plus 0.5 and it will still work out well for you. Okay, because I've done it severally and it's just fine. So once I divide 39 into 4 plus 0.5, that will be very much okay. I hope that is taken. Plus 0.5, I'll be having 10.25, which is exactly the same measurement I'm going to have when I add 6 centimeters from this back line. If I add 6 centimeters, it is still going to give me the same thing that I just marked. So whichever one, you can just look up in the textbook and know what to add from this back line that we connected to the bust line and add to get your UP, or you divide your bust into 4 plus 0.5. So once that is done, I'm going to get my French cuff. This cuff is usually good for connecting the back armhole. I'm going to connect this 3 centimeters that I came down, the 3 centimeters here that will guide my cuff at this lower part. You can mark a straight line here to serve as a guide for you. You can see what we have here. Then I'll connect it to this UP. That is my bust divided by 4 plus half inch, or I can take what is in the textbook like I have explained before. So I'm going to connect the 3 of them together. Right, make sure you don't make a mistake. Then at this upper part, I'm just going to use a very slight curve to connect it to this 2 centimeters that I came up with. So we're gradually progressing. Now this upper part is taken care of. You can adjust this line if you want. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to work at the hip line. I'm going to divide my hip circumference into 4. 41 divided by 4, that is 10.25. I'm going to be adding 0.5 to it. That's because I just want to add an ease of 0.5. And remember, we have an excess of 3 centimeter in this measurement, about 1.025 in on our hip line. So you can decide to exhaust the whole of it or just take what you need. If you're going to be exhausting it, that means to your hip circumference divided by 4, you'll be adding 1.5 centimeter. Okay, 1.5 centimeter is more than half inch. So here I decided to add half inch, and I'll be having a little excess. This is for the back. Now I'm going to be connecting this measurement that I just took to my UP. Don't forget to mark. This is our UP. So I'm going to be connecting it on a straight line. On a straight line. In case you do not want any ease at the hip line, you don't need to add the 0.5. I decided to add the 0.5. You can take your actual measurement the way it is or exhaust the ease that you have inside the pattern, because this is a basic bodice. When you're doing any other alteration that needs complete fitting, you can take away every form of ease that you have and keep only what you have, what you need. So this is our back, and for a basic, okay, let's just leave it the way it is. So we're going to be leaving this back the way it is, and then we'll move over to the front and draft the front pattern, after which we're going to shape everything together. I hope you're following. If you have any question, do well to ask your question, but please make sure you watch the video to the end before you ask questions so that we can understand each other. All right, so see you in the next video.